Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video of the Spelling Essentials video series. In today's video, we'll be covering the Dutch language. The Dutch language is generally one of the more complicated languages. It's pretty similar to German in the fact that it has like random letters being strewn everywhere. And Dutch and Afrikaans are two very similar languages. So because of that, a lot of the tips that you learn from this Dutch video will translate to the language Afrikaans. So I've prepared a list of tips that are pretty basic, but it will definitely help you understand the fundamentals of this language. So the first helpful tip is that the A sound has three options in Dutch. The A sound can be spelled O, A, or AA. So that's pretty straightforward. It can be either one of those three. So it's either O, A, or AA. You'll notice it's typically AA when it falls in between, like at the end of words, like at the final syllable of words. That's typically when it's AA. Next we have the A sound. The A sound is spelled simply A. So it's pretty straightforward. Next we have the long E sound in Dutch, which is typically spelled IE. So this is one of those rules which is similar to German, because in German the E sound is spelled IE as well. Next we have the O sound. The O sound is either spelled O or OE. So the O sound is spelled O or OE. Next we have the OO sound. The OO sound can be spelled either OE or OO. So OE is more common in Dutch as a spelling, but so when you're in doubt, just go with OE. But it's likely to be spelled OO if it has gone through other languages in the past, not just Dutch. Next we have the schwa sound. The schwa sound can be spelled almost with any vowel, but one thing to keep in mind is when you're doing the schwa sound, typically in words, you'll be able to hear like slight inflections towards the correct spelling of the schwa. So you'll typically be able to understand just from the pronunciation what the spelling is, but when in doubt, it's more likely to be spelled A or U. Next, we have the long I sound. The long I sound is spelled IJ, as in traditional Dutch. For example, the word rijsttafel, which is spelled RIJSTTAFEL. Rijsttafel has that long I sound at the beginning of the word, but it's spelled IJ. So J is the silent letter in this scenario. This is one of those rules where it's unique from German, because in German, if you've seen the German video, the German long I sound is spelled EI. But in Dutch, the long I sound is spelled IJ. Next we have the guttural K sound. The guttural K sound is spelled G. So that's pretty straightforward. That's pretty similar to German as well. Next we have the OW sound. So the OW sound can be spelled two different ways depending on where you find it in the word. So if it's in the middle, it can be spelled OU, but if it's at the end of a word, spell it OUW. So in the middle of the word, spell OW, OU, but if it's at the end of the word, spell it OUW. Also, another rule that's pretty similar to German is the F sound. So the F sound is spelled V. So that's a pretty similar rule that you probably already know. Next we have the Ch sound. The Ch sound is spelled TJ, which is a pretty unique spelling. So one example of this is the word Chaile, which is spelled TJAELE. Chaile. So as you can hear at the beginning, we have the Ch sound that's spelled TJ. Next we have the Sh sound. The Sh sound is spelled SCH, very similar to German. Also, another thing to keep in mind is Dutch tends to double its vowels, So like we talked about before, the ah sound can be spelled aa. That's one example of Dutch tending to double its vowel sounds. And that's the conclusion to this video. Dutch is a pretty small language, but it's still very important to learn, because spelling bee officials like to choose Dutch because it's very tricky to spell. So you only can basically spell the words if you've seen them before, which may seem pretty nerve-wracking, but just make sure you practice the lists and you'll be able to get a hang of it, because once you learn it, it's pretty straightforward. And also, because of the coronavirus, since a lot of the spelling bees are canceled, if you're still eligible, this is the perfect time to continue preparing for the spelling bee, because you have a whole extra year to prepare for it. So make sure you're taking advantage of that by studying as much as you can. Thank you, and be sure to watch the next few Spelling Essentials videos.